This is how we check for password. Now on the first level you might check for the username. If it's true, you come down here and check for the password. If it's true, then you go ahead and maybe check for something else if there's anything to check. Hello there, welcome back to our PHP real world application. It's Dale, your host, once again representing DJAW Solutions. I'm actually excited about today because we're covering conditional statements. Since we are getting a little advanced, I decided to switch back to Dreamweaver. I'm using Dreamweaver C6, as you can see. Bring in the PHP tags, those are shown in red. Let's start with the switch statement since for it has no categories. Anyways, there are two conditional statements in PHP. One is switch, the other one is if. Now we are going to start with the switch statement since for it has no categories. Now the syntax for the switch statement is like you type switch, then the condition, open curly brackets, open them. Now after the switch, we need a condition here. Let's create a variable there, let's say, and assign it. Let's assign it for. And down here we bring in case. We need a variable here or a value compared to this condition. So let's bring in y, x goes well with y, and a full colon after whatever we want to compare with our condition. X is equal to 4. Let me first write out all the syntax and I will explain later. Now this is the syntax. You write switch, bring a condition, whatever condition you want to compare to the values or expressions. Open curly brackets. It is a good practice to open and close whatever brackets you're opening so that you don't forget them. Then you come back and in between you write whatever you want to write. You write case, leave a space and bring the expression that we want to compare to the condition. This time we have a variable. Then after that you write a full colon. Next is the statement or a block of code to be executed if this expression, value or variable, is true to the condition given after switch up here. So we want to echo something if y is equal to 4, as you can see here. We want to echo something here. You can write anything that you want to execute. Now we write break after that block of code to stop the execution to go to the next statement, because if you don't have this break, it will go to another case and compare it, and if it's true it will execute it also, which we don't want. You can see this red line here. This shows that you have an error here, but when you check well, the error is not actually on this line, but it is on this line. We did not terminate this line. So whenever you have an error on a certain line, try to check on the line before. Perhaps the error is on that line. Same applies here. The error is on the 21st line, since we don't type there a full colon. So save that, and we want to type something here. Okay, let's type first statement, and down here we type second statement, and down here let's type none of them. None of them is true. Now we are going to test this. If y is equal to x, now this can be outside here, it might confuse some people, and we just bring in that x. Oh, sorry. We just bring in that x. If y is equal to x, then it's going to execute this statement. If it checks this and is not equal to x, it will go to another case and checks whether this x is equal to this 5 or this 5 is equal to this x. And if it's not, none of these cases are true. So it will end up executing the default statement. So I'm going to assign the y variable. Remember variables are case sensitive. So this was let's give y5. We expect the switch statement to output the first statement. Okay, let's change that to 4. Let's run this. As you can see, we have the first statement as expected, and let's state so these two are equal. As you can see, it has changed to the next statement. And if none of them, let's say x is 8, refresh, none of them is true. You can perform stuff like, you can be like, let's say y plus 3, but you need to put this into parentheses or brackets. Let's change that to 5, so that plus 3 equals to 8. As you can see, we can also use the true or false if you want to compare expressions. So you can type here true. So this means that it will only execute the code block in a case where the condition we've given it is true. So let's say this equal, you remember the comparison operators, equaling to, let's say 8. These are equal, and 5 less than, let's say 2. As you can see, there's a comment, single line comment, and it changes color. That's Dreamweaver. I'll comment that out because it's just confusing us. So y is 5, so 5 plus 3 is 8. Okay, already we had the first statement. Now if we change this to 9, so it is not true that these are equal. Changes to none of them, because none here is true. None is true here. 5 is not less than 2, and 5 plus 3 is not 9. So if we change this to false, now both of these expressions are false, but remember this one is executed first, and we have a break down here, so it can't go to the next expression. So it will only print the first one. As you can see, it's false. Now if I removed this break and that, it will end up printing all 3 of the statements, but we don't have a line break or space, so I'll put a space here, space there, and a space there. As you can see, first statement, second statement, none of the statements is true. So this break is very, very, very important. Never forget to include that. It causes no error not to include it, but you need it, as you've seen. Okay, now let's go to the if statements. The if statement has 3 categories. I'll write a block of comment. It is if. Now this if statement executes only one block of code, so it only checks the condition once, and if it's true it executes the block of code, and if it's not true it doesn't care what happens, so it only cares about one side. Syntax is like that. Now the other one is if else. Now with this one we add else. This is a block of codes. Maybe I should change it to that. And the last category is if else, if else. Now this one can be interchanged with switch because it does the very same thing. Now this one you type else, if, and bring another condition, block of code. You can type another else if until the last else. We're going to compare age. Let's say my age is 20. If my age is greater than 18, let's say you can drive. It has to print this because my age is above 18. Anyways, you say you can drive, as you can see. But if this is wrong, if you want to get the opposite of this, you just put an exclamation mark here, which is not. So this means not greater than. If age is not greater than 18, and you can see it doesn't care, it doesn't print anything because it has no option after that. Now that's when the if else comes in. Okay, let's just modify this one. With if else, you add an option just in case this condition is not true. So you add an option, else another statement. Let's say as you can see, if my age is greater than 18, you can drive. Else, meaning if it's not greater than 18, then output you cannot drive. Let's check that. You can drive because it's over 18. Now let's type here 16. You can drive, as you can see. We have the last category of if statement, which is if else if else. Now with this one, see, for this one we only had one option if the first condition was not true. With if else, it gives us other unlimited options. You can write as many options as you can, just like you saw in switch. Anyways, let's modify this. Now with this, you just add a condition right here, another if statement. So it will read like, if your age is greater than 18, you can drive. Else, if, now we're providing another option, but like this option also has a condition. If age is greater, let's say, than 16, then you can do what? Let's change this one. You can move out. You can move out of your parents' home. Anyways, let's come down here. Now we can also add another else if here under condition. If it's above, let's say your age is above 10, let's bring in our statement down there. You can go to high school. I'm just trying to look for, the options I can write there. This is not the best example, but at least I think you're getting the concept. Age is greater than 18. I'll fix that. You can move out. If it comes here and check, when your age is not above 16, it will go to another option. If it's equal to 16, remember this is equal to 16, but we want above, like over, greater than 16. It will print this statement, but since your age is exactly 16, it will not print this statement again. To go to the next one. You get? So the last option, like we had default with switch, here it can be else, or you can leave it out. It's echo, you are still young. Anyway, let's test out this. We're expecting this to print this one because our age is above 16. It's 16 but not over 16, not greater than 16. As you can see, you can go to high school, but if we had greater or equal, then you cannot drive. Oh, this has to be you can drive. Of course, at 16 you can drive. As you see, this one can be exchanged with the switch because the switch also works exactly like this. And the other thing I want to talk about lastly is the nested if. You write an if statement inside another if statement. So I'll delete all those not to confuse you. Check the condition here, and if it's true, you bring in another if statement inside. Let's say if, okay, let's say you've passed this, your age is 20, you bring in another statement. If your age, or you can bring in another option. Yeah, let's say if your level of study is high school, then you can go partying. Save. Now you can bring in another if and another if and another one and another one to infinity, whatever conditions you want to check. This will only be executed, or this condition will only be checked and this statement executed after checking the first if statement. Now this is the second statement, as you can see. So let's try to let's say this one is 16. If this one is 16, nothing will happen. Nothing happens, as you can see. But if this one is passed, let's say you are 19, which is above 18, then it goes to another statement. Assign this variable high school. So if this variable also is wrong, the program will only end here, because it will check this when it's wrong and it goes over it. Never executes it, as you can see. As you can see. So it runs up to this stage, then it checks this condition when it's wrong, and it stops there. It jumps over. Even when you type something down here, the end, I'll type a new line here. As you can see, the end is also executed. So anything outside here will be executed, but not inside. So if this also is checked and is equal, that statement also will be executed, as you can see. And now all of them are executed. We are inside, go parting, end. As you can see, this is how we check for password. Now on the first level, you might check for the username. If it's true, you come down here and check for the password. If it's true, then you go ahead and maybe check for something else if there's anything to check. And this is how to validate HTML fields. Also, this nested if is so important. In fact, if statements in general, they are super helpful. So it's better you understand those. I would recommend you to rewatch this video if there's anything you didn't understand, or you can drop your comment down in the comment section. You tell me where you have not understood, and I will try to help you in any way I can. Anyway, that's it for today. Subscribe, like, comment. It's Dale representing DJAW IT Solutions, and I'll see you in the next video.